Hi all, welcome to my channel, Quilter Chris. My name is Kristen, and I'm so glad you're here. Thank you very much. So today, I'm going to take you on a tour of my sewing room. And I'm really proud of my sewing room and so grateful. When I started quilting and sewing for real about 25 years ago, I could keep all my sewing items in a box, in a medium-sized moving box, including my sewing machine. And as my collection grew, I started taking up more space in the house. And at the time, I had 4 children. I now have 5 children. But I always felt bad about that. And my children told me, they said, wherever you are, Mom, that's where we are. And so I continued to ask them that, and they continue to say that. Now, those 4 older children are grown, and I still have an 11-year-old at home. And we're in the family room of my house. We also have a small living room that's by our front door. Guests come there. We watch TV as a family together there, all of that. But in this room, everyone congregates. And this ends up being a shared space. So it ends up truly being a family room. Having said that, while most of the stuff in this room is mine, I share it with whomever's in the house. Currently, out of my children, one is a student that lives here at home. She's an adult and a college student. And the other one is 11. And she shows up in my videos a lot. She loves to make videos. I want to go on to say that I never include anyone or anything that's theirs in my videos without their permission. So having said that, they all store items here. As my grown children come to visit, they often hang out here as well, and they'll do projects. So this is really a shared space with everyone. Having said that, I'll give you first, we'll start out with a picture of the whole room, and then we'll go around the room, and I'll share tips on how I store things, on what I use and what works for me, and why I do things a certain way. I also want to say that a lot of sewing rooms are those really pretty white sewing rooms. They're beautiful. They often use IKEA or other kitchen cabinets. And while I do have IKEA furniture here, and I think it's so pretty, I also have 5 children. And even though 4 of those children are grown, it's really hard to keep clean, right? And I want this space to be a creative space. And so in this space, I have bookcases from Target that were cheap. I have places where people can pull out a table and make something if they want to, but I really just want this to be a creative space. It's not about how pretty it can look necessarily, although that's a bonus. It's more about, is it a usable space? And so this is, it will change, right? If something is no longer usable, then I will rearrange it. Also, a quick note, I do have a regular 9 to 5, and I work from home. And in this space, I do have a corner that's curtained off, that's part of my work from home, and I will never show that on camera. However, I would love to hear about your all sewing spaces, or what tips or tricks you have that works great for you. I would love to hear from you. So having said that, let's take a look at my sewing room. So at a glance, here's my overall room. It is a partial basement room in the family room. There is a couple of doors here. This is a bathroom right here. The little door is for our cat, who you will see down here. There's another door here that goes down to the actual unfinished part of the basement, and where the laundry room is, and where my husband has his computer thing. Okay, so here is my industrial sewing machine. I bought this in October of 2023. Took me a while to save up for it. I really love it. I did not buy it online. I bought it from a local dealer and it was a little bit more, but he came and to my home and set it up for me. And I don't get to use it as often as I would like because I get so busy, but we can just take a look here real quick. It is the 1181 in the Juki. And here is where I have 2 bags cut out and I keep them here. And so that when I do have a chance to work on it, I can. And I try to keep all the tools nearby that I would use. This is a pattern I do often, and I often need to follow these lines on this pattern. So that's why I have it hanging there. These are my vintage ball jars that I have there. They look very pretty in the light, but as I mentioned before, I do have a cat. And what I was finding is that I had a lot of cat fur that was winding up on my machine and in my thread. And by putting the jars there, she doesn't jump up in this window. She has 3 other windows she can play around with. These are my lights and things for making my videos. And here is my sewing table. I like using this back portion of my sewing table as kind of a side table when I work at my industrial. So I like having it here. But coming back to this table, this was a table I got at the thrift store for about $100. It's a dining table. My daughter painted it for me. There's a leaf if I need it. I was working on a smaller table. I was working on that table right there that the computer's on, and I found I just wasn't having enough room. So this has really helped. So you can see the leaf there. I use under table as storage, and I have these hooks that I got on Amazon to hang my rulers on, so they're within easy reach. There is this decorative scroll work on the table you can kind of see. I didn't want to put my hooks there, so that's why there's that space there. In this bin, I keep batting that I'm using for basting quilts. And then these are my most used rulers, and they come right around the edge. Here in these wooden drawers, I used to store most of my notions, but I have they've gone various other places, so I don't store as much there. But I still really like the drawers, and so I keep it there. My sewing machine, projects I'm working on. The stand is another item that I got at a thrift store, and it holds my patterns when I'm working. I really love it. It's got kind of a bendy base to it, and so I think that's great. Of course, the pegboard holds my industrial sewing machine thread. And you can see behind the curtain, that's where I work from home. Here's my Aurifil machine, Aurifil sewing thread. So I use this when I'm working on quilts and other cotton projects. So I didn't get this all at once. This is a nail polish holder that I got on Amazon. It's more expensive now. I think when I got it, it was $25. And for my birthday, my sister often gets me a package of Aurifil, and that's where I've gotten most of this. So, and then various birthday and Christmas gifts. So coming around here, there's this desk, which I like to use kind of as a side desk when I'm sewing, but it's really my 11-year-old is homeschooled. She does an online curriculum, and so she sits here when I'm working, and she works on her school. These gray drawers, so these are most of my sewing notions. And then other various sewing related items, my paper piecing, a small vacuum to vacuum out. I have another bin under here that just holds my batting. These These drawers are just like pins, paper, things like that, that Clara uses in her homeschool. These black drawers are for painting, and they're mostly Clara, my 11-year-old. They're mostly her arts and crafts items drawers. And so then here, you can see first I have my featherweight, and which I love to use. It's totally in working condition, and I love it. This that looks like an iron, my daughter Emily found it for me at a thrift store. Could put one of those hot irons in there, and then you would use this to iron your clothes. I have never used it for that, but I do think it looks pretty in my shop. And the lizard picture Clara made for me at art class, at one of her homeschool art things she goes to. And here you can see our paint and washi tape. And then here is my drafting table. I don't get to use this as often as I would like, but it holds all my paints. I had tried to go to art school for a time when my kids were small, but there were other plans for me. So I didn't get a chance to do that, but art is still my first love. So I got that on Amazon. I'm pretty sure I got it on sale. I think it was like $150, but I have seen a lot of them on Facebook Marketplace. Not because they're bad. I think people just don't have the time to use them. So you might be able to get a deal for this at Facebook Marketplace. Then up here, this is an old tape deck holder, and it holds our ink pads for when we stamp or do paper crafts. These I did spend a little bit more money on. These were made on Etsy. They're by a man who makes them, and they do not come with the jars. I had to buy the jars, but they hold my colored pencils and my markers. I have this table that I got on Amazon. I think it was $40 or $50, this table. Those drawers are also from Amazon. I think they were about 100. Those drawers hold Clara's homeschool things, her workbooks and things that that might not fit someplace else. But this table is my works in projects. So each box is a different quilt. They're my block of the month, or quilts that I've cut out that I haven't pieced yet. This is an IKEA cupboard, and up here that holds my starch and other chemicals. Down here we have quilt tops on the right to be quilted. That's some flannel fabric for a backing that I didn't have space for where my fabric is. Below that is waterproof canvas for the lining of my purses and other canvas. And then those are other fabrics on the right for purses and bags. And then my DVD collection that my children like to get me. And then some knit fabrics that for sewing clothes. This top drawer, I have watercolor paper, and I really like the Arteza brand. You get it on Amazon. It's a little bit cheaper than other brands, but still really good quality. So we keep all our watercolor paper there. We use that for making cards and for watercolor painting. This is scrap knit fabric that I usually use for making clothes, but I might use it for making bags. So it just stays in this drawer. And these are assorted projects that I may or may not do. Moving along here, if you watch my other videos, you'll often see here. So to the right, this is a vintage Brother machine from the 1960s that I bought from an individual when we lived on Fort Meade. These boxes here are various accessories for a machine I do have, but I just think that they look really pretty, so I have them there. These are Disney popcorn buckets we get when we get a chance to go to Disney World. We haven't gotten to go for several years, but always hopeful. And then these are all my quilt books and craft books. There are also drawing books, knitting books, some of Clara's homeschool books, all those good things. Coming down here are quilt kits. Some are in progress, some are not, but that's where I store them. coming to this other bookcase, so I wanted to show you. Sometimes you'll see these quilts hanging up to make my bookcases look prettier. I just use binder clips to hang them up. And here we have assorted clocks my children found for me at thrift stores they thought I would like. And then buttons and rickracs that I sometimes use on quilts or cross stitch. That bin holds all my Lori Holt fabric. I like to keep it together for when I make her quilts. These baskets hold my fat quarters. Those are comic book boards that I put my yardage on, like how I showed you. And these are clothespins and various other clips that I use to clip fabric together or quilts. And so, oh, I was mistaken. This bin up here are solid fabrics. This is my Lori Holt bin. These are my scraps waiting to be trimmed. And these are my scraps cut up into various sizes. So here, this is my fabric cupboard. So the majority of my fabric for making quilts fits in this cupboard. I have a lot of pre-cuts. So they are in these various drawers, organized by the types. Here in this is an IKEA Kallax with the drawer pulls. So here, this blue bag that holds Clara's sewing machine when she gets it out. This box is, I think, her project that she's working on. Most of these drawers hold things for paper crafts. That's our die cutter. We have a Brother Scan and Cut, and we have the Cricut Joy that Clara likes to use. Coming along here, you can see I have some vinyl there. There's clear vinyl, and that's a brown vinyl for bags. There's this small side table that I use sometimes if I run out of room, like if I'm cutting or something. It was white. It's one of those, I think it's by Lifetime, it's plastic. And so my daughter Emily painted it for me, and she used a primer, a coverall primer, and then she painted it gray to avoid those fingerprints. So I use this for my cross stitch, and then to hold projects and accessories for cross stitch. This is another piece that I got at a thrift store. I think I paid about $50 for it, plus I had to haul it home. My husband painted it for me when I was on another trip. The oven on there is for Clara. She likes to do that baked clay. So I got that, I think, at a Black Friday sale for like $50 last year. And she really likes it, and it kind of goes with our sewing room. We use this to, right now there's records in front of it, but we use this to hold whatever paper crafts don't fit in there. So paper, cards, things like that. You can tell she was using it because the stamps are in there. That's just a little lap desk she sometimes uses. We have a couch and a footstool in here. This is actually part of a sectional. Also, I got it at a thrift store. It's a really nice sectional, but it's brown. I'm not usually a big fan of brown, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but I wanted a little more color. So I got these slip covers, and it actually proved to be great. So I got these on Amazon. I think the slip covers cost me $50. And it's great because the cat lays here all the time, and I can just take the slip cover off and wash it. So that's been awesome. And then we found this footstool for $10 at a thrift store, and it of course didn't go, but I was able to find a matching slip cover. There's a small end table there, and then my design board. This TV here, it's on wheels. And so we wheel it around if we want to watch videos or something like that, or if I want to watch TV while I'm sewing. So that's been fun. Coming around, this is my vinyl that I use for making bags. I have some there too. You can see the cat door. And right here, this holds my hardware and webbing. So I get it when it's on sale. The pegboard, my husband and daughter painted to match the rest of the room. But this hardware I've been accumulating for a while. So as I get more hardware, I just get like another row of those bins and then I hold it there. But the webbing I get on Etsy. This is a rack that sometimes if I have squares that won't fit on my design board, or as I'm sewing together a quilt and I have to stop, I can take those squares and I hang them on skirt hangers, and then I can hang it here. Here, it also shows my Lori Holt stencils are hanging here. And these are the roofs to my designer block of the month. Okay, and finally we have the center of my room. This is my cutting table. So this is 2 IKEA dressers. I think I've had this also for about 15 years. It's been in 3 states. It's held up really good. The only thing I've had to replace is the plywood that goes on top. So how it works is it's 2 IKEA dressers. They are not bolted together. There is a piece of plywood on top. Before, I used to get the cheapest plywood I could find. This one is a more expensive piece, and it seems to be doing better, but either one works. I had just gotten these 2 dressers one time with my tax return, so they came in this color. So on this plywood, what it is it's a layer of batting. I bought a king-size piece of batting, and I staple gunned it down. After that, I used that silver ironing board fabric and staple gunned that on top of it. Then I have this canvas fabric, and we put this on it and staple gunned it down. Then my husband drilled holes, but you could do this too. It wasn't that hard. He drilled holes, and it goes through the edge of the table, and it holds the board to the top of the dressers. So it has worked great. It has been a year and a half since we moved here, so I probably need to get a new piece of canvas to go on top, but it has worked great. The 2 lights are swag lights from IKEA. You can tell that they plug in over there. And we'll take a tour around the table so you can see it. Mostly the drawers just hold different sewing items, ribbons and elastic. These are project bags, tissue paper for wrapping up items I sell on Etsy. My iron accessories, like there's my mini iron. This is hardware that maybe doesn't fit there, or I got on sale and I'm not quite sure where to put it. These are baggies that I use over and over, like when I cut out a quilt and I need separate items. So I just label these. I sometimes put tape over the label if I've written on it before, and then that's how I keep my projects separate. Going here, we have interfacing for making bags. Oh, this is fabric I got at a local craft thrift store that is also for making bags, or my adult daughter that lives here, she makes historic clothing, so sometimes she uses it for that. Here, this is just leftovers. It looks like we have some foam that I've gotten probably on sale, and some extra canvas fabric. And then here, this is my yarn drawer. Moving around, we built this table. This is actually a stair ledge, and these are legs that I got at Home Depot. We spray painted these, we put the fabric on, and it makes a great shelf. this is not my idea. I got this idea from Lori Holt because she always stores up. So that's what we're working on too. This, I think I got on Amazon super cheap. It holds the tools. This is a cookie tin that my daughter just spray painted for me. Claire and I will probably put some kind of cute vinyl on there, but it's pretty cute. This bin holds all my design boards, so I just pick them up as I need to. My daughters and I had a day where we just worked on these and made these. They're foam board with a layer of batting and then the binding around, but you can buy them places as well. My spare ironing board is there. I keep a lot of my cutting mats here. These are 2 hooks for my scissors. The top are paper scissors. The bottom are for cutting fabric. Last year for my birthday, my sister got me these. They're huge, but they're fun. They're great at cutting. These are my bag patterns. So this is actually a toilet paper holder. And then I print out my patterns. I laminate them on the laminator, punch a hole in them, have a binder ring, and then they just live there. The stool that Clara will sit on when she's hanging out with me. The other side of this, so these are new books or patterns I've gotten that I want to make sure I work on next. So I keep them there. And then these just hold various vinyl. We go to a lot of craft thrift stores, so as I find items, then we'll save and store them. This is more webbing and quilt binding. And then this is upholstery fabric that we got at thrift stores. You know, the like samples. We pulled them off the cardboard and I use them for making small wallets. You get them. I get these boards that they're super thick and they have all these samples on it, and I get it for like $1. You just have to do the work to take it off. Those are some vinyl panels. This is some more canvas. This is Joann's, as is this, but most of the rest we got at thrift stores. And then the vinyl. We do keep a little trampoline in here. So if I've been sitting too long at work, I like to jump on it. But also if it gets too cold or rainy, then Clara can jump on it and get out her energy. And we have the exercise ball in here. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you like my tour. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.